This video is part of a series on the family of 5 vehicles that are using the Scenic styling, the Renault Scenic E-Tech 2025 styling on the outside and interior, the fabrics of the seats and around the surfaces of the vehicle, and the cockpit design. So they've got a superb vehicle over these design features in the Renault Scenic, and the model here is to use this across the vehicle set, A segment, B segment, D segment, these sort of things, and make a family of them, and then they cross promote each other. It's a very attractive design. There can be people who like this Renault Scenic and then wish that it came in the 4,700mm size that is their type of vehicle. Well, what if Scenic provided that? And the Megane is much smaller than the Scenic and is inferior in looks. Well, what if we redid the Megane, just shorten the life of the current Megane, and redo it and have it look like the Scenic here, but then fix it up in its great deficiency, put on a higher roof on the Megane. So, and in this video I'll show one model of a Megane, just with some photo edits, with a high roof on it, but with the Scenic styling on it. So it's just the shorter length version of the Scenic with a higher roof. So that'll be shown. And then the other part of this video is doing edits on this original photo. This is right in front of us, the original Renault Scenic 2025. This is taken from one of the websites somewhere around the world, Renault, the websites for selling their vehicles. So this is a photo of the original vehicle. Now, first I'll go to just some of the interiors of the vehicle and the dimensions, and then we'll look at some edits and see just some, after 24 hours of work, looking at some of these high roof versions of the Scenic and then a high roof version of the Megane in the Scenic styling. So looking to deal with 2 vehicles here for the upgrade in making this family of vehicles. So for the Scenic, we're upgrading it by putting on a high roof. The current vehicle, the roof is too low. One, you're losing a lot of customers, sales, and 2, the vehicle is deficient in safety and orientation, comfort of drive. Visibility out the back, if you use the mirror and try and use your own eyes, is a fail. They do have a camera and a display function for that rear view mirror, which displays what the capture of the camera. But how about letting us see out the side windows and the front windscreen and the rear view window as well, using a rear view mirror by having a high roof, and let's have headroom for people, human beings. And so let's get those upgrades in. High roof version of the Scenic and Megane. Let's go and have a look at some. This is the interior, and this has the fabric. This photo doesn't let us really experience just how good these fabrics are, and whatever particular trim in which region. There's 2 ones that have these lighter type of colours. Both are good. Which one is the best? Well, I'd have to have a look at them close. But the outside is spectacular in the design work, and the interior is really excellent. And so we're looking to carry these through into the family of 5 vehicles. This is the cockpit, and it's an excellent cockpit. Really is excellent cockpit. There's some good cockpits out there, clearly, but again, this fabric treatment, this photo doesn't show that, but the fabric treatment, the wraparound, the the fabric up the D pillar on the roof, it's all part of it. And then this screen here with the toggle, the stainless steel or aluminium toggles, and the screen faces the driver, and it's an excellent cockpit. The steering wheel is excellent in itself, shaping wise and in the hands. Many strengths. So we're going to carry through the cockpit as well. Another picture of the cockpit. So in the updated, upgraded version of them again, let's go make everything totally non-toxic interior, just like every vehicle should be. And so that when you put your hands on the steering wheel, you're not putting your hands on something that's toxic to human health. We absorb it through our skin, and it's VOC off-gassing in the vehicle. So this is an agenda for all future vehicles, but let's go make a superior vehicle for these 5 vehicles, a family set. Make them, it's the business core there. You make it a high-grade vehicle, value purchase, and superior to competitors, and then it's the default buy, and then sensibly, if everybody was informed, they would buy this vehicle. 100% of sales would go to this vehicle. That's the assignment. Now, part of it is it's a totally non-toxic interior in every way over every surface. And there is no new car smell for 5 years that is VOC off-gassing poison air, which that's what it is. So we don't do that. And all the surfaces are safe. This is all doable. We know how to do it. So let's not have this file dominated by that. Let's get back to the Scenic and the design. So this is the cockpit. In person, it is excellent. It's a real strength of the vehicle. So let's carry it through to all of the 5 vehicles in this family. Now these are the dimensions for the Scenic, Renault Scenic E-Tech 2025. 4,470 millimeters length is the bit to notice here. The height is deficient, severely deficient, but we look to fix that up. And then we need to look at the width and consider what we do with the width. 1864 is not the fully wide sort of Tesla Model Y or Zeekr 7X wide. And so for this class of vehicle, there's length, but the width and height, the height should be full height, and then width, it's a consideration. Where do we put this? Just because you're making it shorter in length doesn't mean you have to make it shorter in width. Part of the strategy here is in dealing with factors. If you go make it a rear-wheel drive electric motor, compact electric motor inverter, 11 in 1, and pack it so that it runs flat horizontal in how you assemble this 11 in 1 drive unit type of thing, how you join all the pieces together, make it run flat. So instead of it being vertically upright, and then you've got problems with the floor of the vehicle and the second row seats, instead lay it on its side, run it flat, this sort of idea. And then we have a rear drive unit, and that frees up the front, and then you can use the Zeekr Mix, that van vehicle, the Zeekr Mix steering system. They put in a bigger internal wheelhouse, and the suspension and arm structures that hold things, they started them further back and had them reach in certain angles. It just created more space for the wheel to turn and not strike anything, and give it the treatment. So what we can have is a vehicle that is a bit wider yet has excellent maneuverability. So look to that for all of our vehicles, the bigger ones and the smaller ones in this family of 5, and then you've got strength with strength. Now this is all easily doable. It doesn't cost any more as long as you've got the space up the front, which is done by making it rear-wheel drive electric motor system. And plenty of motor power is part of the rule set for all vehicles, and this family of 5 vehicles is part of the all. It must be well powered, excellent power weight ratio, excellent torque. The torque means an evenness in performance when you've got the vehicle loaded up or you're going up a hill. Make sure that motor has plenty of torque. So we note that Renault has a partnership with Nissan, and they sometimes share platforms, parts, whatever it is. Well, if it's useful for Renault in terms of what they decide to go with, the Nissan e-Power system, second generation, has come through, and it is noticeably better in driving efficiencies, and that was important. That's an important upgrade. And they've got their torque vectoring system and so on, fully integrated. And if you share platforms and you can share that, how does the internal money happen? But if that works for you, then keep that in mind, because the e-Power can be upgraded to a plug-in hybrid e-Rev drivetrain. Nissan should do that themselves, but they're just choosing not to. Seemingly, like every Japanese company, they just don't really want to participate, and they don't participate properly. This is a sensible thing to do, and then you're coming up short. You're just going to the left or right of it. Why don't you just go all the way? So, hold your breath for 20 years and they're still lagging, and we know really what's going on. So what we have is that you just add significantly more battery, and then you put in a plug-in charge system, and then there's your e-Rev system. So that's an option. I mean, you can just go pure electric, and the sales are increasing, the pie is increasing, and you meet with that, you dovetail with that. So that would be the way to go. But keep in mind the e-Rev for all of these different size vehicles, and if you haven't got your own internal system, let's not have a year or two development and all the cost. If you can just take Nissans and add a bigger battery, you could have a few battery sizes to again get more market share, because you've been very helpful to the customer. They can pick that battery size or this one and that one, and you put in motors that offset the weight of the battery, so that you got the same power rate ratio for all the different vehicles. So none of them are deficient. All of them are good in terms of performance, power rate ratio, and exactly 0 to 100 time the same. So you're just simply choosing the bigger battery and related range for the given price, and then there was no trade-off on performance because of that internal. The motor's more powerful and a better torque to deal with that. Now get back to this. It's looking more broadly as a whole set of strategies and offers, and why the customer just loves dealing with Renault, and this is the place to go, and you just, which one do I want? They're all great and so on. They've got the right sort of variant offerings. So that's business strategy, intelligence, this sort of thing, and the sort of stuff that is worth doing. This is industry-wide, but if we're putting together a package here for the next phase of Renault, using this Renault Scenic face, a whole wraparound styling, and the interior, and just say, make that your brand system, your brand look, but not just by a little bit, but totally. This is what you put on every vehicle. The only way it'll be ever different is that the vehicle shape means you've got to work with those sort of lengths over those areas, and so the designer gets in there and says, true to the original in all its beauty, and then we're just making it fit onto this in a beautiful way, this different shaped vehicle. So that's the approach, the strategy, and be radical to it. So with this 4,470mm Renault Scenic, as it currently is, that leaves us space above for the 4,590mm next size up vehicle, and then the 4,700mm next size up vehicle. And then downwards, below the Scenic, is the Megane, which we redo, put on a high roof and dress it up with this better styling on the outside. And then we have the Kangoo redone, which I've made a video for that. So that's the other one, and the Kangoo is not just a commercial vehicle, but there's the Ford Tornado type of equivalent. They've got the Tornado term for it, for saying, well, that's a passenger vehicle from the factory, built purpose for it. So we do the same with the Kangoo, and then this is a complete redo of Kangoo. you need to go give it the high grade safety and how that's done, and you need to uh, improve the styling, which this does it. We're using this Renault Scenic whole dress up, and then you need to give it the proper power, excellent power rate ratio, which again is meaning to do a whole rebuild, and then do the interior cockpit that is in the Renault Scenic, put it in the Kangoo, make a compelling option, just beats all opposition. You get all of the pie type of thing. And then the passenger version. And the passenger version will be loved by some, and that some will go and buy that and instead of these other types of formats of vehicle. It's coming out of the same factory, and it doesn't take much to have the fit out for the second row. Don't try and do a third row. This is the rule with all of these vehicles. We're not pushing for the third row for this model. It's always an option. Just make your Kia EV9 equivalent, and then it's just this 4,500, let's say, 4,500 millimeter. They're just very big on the road, and I won't further get into that at the moment. Let's just deal with these ones, which is the sweet spot set for volumes of sales. Now, let's move on and have a look at the original. What did we do? We had a look at that. That's the original Scenic. Now, let's look at some design work. This is also the original Scenic from a side view, different photo. Now, with this one, I've just done some Photoshop for an hour and put this one so it gives us this idea of a high roof version. That's the same length, we didn't change the length. And this is an hour of photoshopping, so we can do better in tightening things up and get the thickness of that C-pillar sorted. It's not thick enough, it doesn't match the A-pillar. We can quickly get across things and just say, look, it would quickly improve to the eye if we just, for example, fixed up that C-pillar. And what one should think of is the Mercedes GLB 35 AMG, their best dressed up. That's the petrol version, but a fully electrified version of that. So the best colour of the best version of the Mercedes GLB, which is the GLB AMG 35. There's a couple of wheel options, a couple of front grille options. Get the best of that, and then that's the 4,700, or what is it, 4,600-ish type of length. And this this Scenic is significantly shorter than that. So, but that same sort of shape type approach. So in our development work, have that vehicle, and the Smart Hashtag 5 is the sister vehicle now, have it in the big shed while we do our design to get this high roof version. Now, these big wheels, ridiculously, excessively big wheels on this vehicle is a problem on the original one, and it's part of the problem in the look here. And let's put on the smaller wheelhouse and smaller wheels. So this is phase one of that. I have not shortened it on the horizontal. I just squeezed them down. But there's so many lines very tight to the wheelhouse edge that it becomes a lot of work if you don't have the proper software to do it. I don't have the proper software. I'm just using Microsoft Paint that's free with Microsoft, and it takes hours and many clicks to do that. So in the future, do a further work and fix up that C pillar and make it properly thick, like the B pillar, and then on the horizontal, squeeze these wheels in to get them properly round in the wheelhouse, and then that would bring it through. So just seeing on the horizontal there, the vehicle looks better. Looks better because we went to the smaller wheel and wheelhouse, in this case just on the in the vertical. But if we brought it in on the horizontal and made it all properly round, and then that would clean it all up, and that would be the better look. It's just a mistake to have these big whopping wheels. That's from the original photo. I didn't change that. That's the original photo with this big whopping wheelhouse and wheels, excessively big. It's not a good idea for many reasons, including even styling. And then it improves with. Um, see, these photos, I don't know why the original photo seems to have asymmetrical size wheels. That's the original photo. Why are they doing that? Did they angle the floor or something? So that's their fault. I need to go find a photo that has the wheels symmetrical and the wheelhouse symmetrical. So enough on that. Now this here, see that I squeezed it in a bit. That makes the wheels more and wheelhouse more round. And by doing that, we just got our Megane, the smaller vehicle with a high roof, with the stylings of the Scenic on the outside. So again, we need to get in there Photoshop and make that C-pillar thicker. It doesn't work to talk about it. You need to deliver the photo. It's just, I failed to get that clean-up done. It's not hard to do it. That one. So anyway, this points to the Megane with a high roof. That's full functionality. People appreciate, oh, now I've got headroom. I can see out. And somebody putting that much money down, they're going to look at that. They're going to think about it. And then the dress up of the Scenic are on the outside, and then put the Scenic cockpit in there, and people will be won over. They'll just love the new Megane. So you can take a big piece of the pie with this massive upgrade. The Scenic looks, and much smaller wheels gives much better driving machine, much better driving dynamics, much better efficiency, much better performance, and better safety, better grip of the tyres on the road. The wheels don't bounce around as much, so grip of tyres on the road is improved real world. So the vehicle would be improved in many, many ways, and overall the look would be much improved with the Scenic dress up and the better proportions with the smaller wheelhouse and smaller wheels, and you'd have a winner on your hands. So let's move on and get to this photo. That's the original Megane again, and again, for some strange reason, the front wheel looks very unusually bigger. I know perspective factors, if something's further away then it looks smaller, but this is seemingly disproportionate. So we move on from that, look at the edit. So this is a high roof version, and it's one approach. And this one is high roof version. We have it lengthened out a little bit, whatever that ends up with, giving a bit more length. It's a bit of a cheat in the sense, weren't we doing the 4,470? Well, it could be 4,580 for the next version. This, don't sweat it. I mean, this is just a particular photo edit to look at some of the shape lines. And then changing the rear here from the original, making it just better. We have a longer rear tailgate window. Now, this photo doesn't show it for the design, but it extends down. You've got it at an angle, and then it sort of drops like a cliff when we get to the lights there, rear tail lights. And that part internally between the tail lights, there's a bit more glass there that runs, so that we have a big rear window, very big rear window. Now, if people take out the rear seats, which is part of the design, a single person, you're off to work again. Why carry around the extra mass of the rear seats? These vehicles, all of them, all future vehicles across all the industry, are built so that you can easily, with a friend, take out the rear seats, but they are built to be able to do that, and intuitive in terms of how it's done, and to put them back in for safety, properly secured. And then you reduce the mass of the vehicle by 70 kilograms. Don't carry around unnecessary mass. And then you can look out your rear view mirror, and with this big windscreen, sorry, try again, with this big rear tailgate window, you've got excellent vision. That's by taking out the second row seats, which many people will do. You know, you're driving off to work, you're a single person, you're off to uni again or something. You got two front seats, just roll with that. Get rid of the rear seats. So this is another uh, design, and this is giving more vision out the window there. Uh, your third window, the vehicle's not particularly long, so you know, they did their original Scenic with no D pillar. This is just adding in a C and D pillar, and you just have that much better perspective in checking a blind spot. You're able to pick up a little bit more information because there's more window to look out of. And this is just working that last lower part of the run of the base of the windows, and trying out something different for the finishing off of that. So we would have a high roof version, and we have something there with superior functionality, much superior functionality. Now, one approach is you stop making the current Scenic. You keep all the styling features that are so superb, but the current Scenic has the fail of the massive blind spot in the middle of the front windscreen, which seems to be standard across the industry. They just keep doing that. It should be made illegal. You mustn't be able to. It should not be legal to put a massive blind spot in the front of the windscreen. How hard is that to understand? So that big box they put in there. I mean, if you sit there, a 6 foot, 5 foot, 8 person, even 5'9", you're sitting there in the seat, and the geometry lines of where they're looking to see down the road, and you hit that black box high in the windscreen, because this windscreen is quite raked back, and it all doesn't get very high overall anyway. And then you put the box up there, and that's right where I'm trying to look down the road. So you put a blind spot right in the middle of my view. That's, it's a criminal act that's going to have a rate of causing crashes. You need to see and see early, and dodging and weaving around this black box in the middle of the windscreen, this massive blind spot, is unacceptable. So if somebody was across it, proper checklist in buying a vehicle, that rules it out. Can't buy that one. That vehicle's set to kill me. With a blind spot in the windscreen in the front is where we look at what's down the road, where we're heading. So fix that up. Now the current Scenic has the A pillars being so laid back, and just where they are, it's creating a lot of blind spot effect there as well. And then you've got a tiny rear tailgate, and really giving nothing in terms of vision out the back. They're offsetting that with the camera and the display screen, and reviewers seem to say that works well. That's good. Now, then the side windows, first row and second row, and they're way too small to get a proper viewing for checking a blind spot. So we fix all of this. All of that goes away with the high roof version. So consider, let's just move to it. Now, if Renault chooses to persist with the low roof version, their current one, with the mumbling of whatever reasoning, then you can make both. So you can have the low roof version, high roof version, and if you are doing that, then you're in the box seat, you're positioned to be able to provide the service to the human species of doing this experiment. The experiment is what? You make the high roof version, low roof version, and then you offset any additional mass and catching of wind and the effect on range by, and there's a number of strategies. You don't have to put in more motor power or more battery to fix those two problems, the power rate ratio and the performance, and the other one is the range. It can be that you spend the money on the flow form wheels, make them that much lighter. You spend the money on the Willowood Dynalite, they've got such a range of calipers So there's a long list of others, but the very compact format 4-piston or 2-piston instead of 1 or whatever it is, an upgrade there. And while you're at it, the lighter caliper and caliper bracket, and then go with the lighter um, brake disc rotor or the arms of the unsprung mass. You can make it out of the different material and lighten it up. So this would be lightening the wheels, lightening the unsprung mass, lightening the suspension system, lightening the brake components in the wheels, and lightening potentially other parts of the vehicle to get back the range, to get back the acceleration performance. So this could be giving efficiency within the company. It's 6 of one or half a dozen of another, which way do we go, but one could have the win. We keep using the same motor, and then how do we get the same power rate ratio performance? Well, we just lighten certain things up, and then there we are with the same performance. And then the other is range. Well, all of those things done for the getting the performance squared off could do it all for the range, but you may be adding something else. So then you didn't have to make another different battery pack. You just, again, lighten up the vehicle. Certain things could be done. Now, if it should be done on the other vehicle anyway, then it should already be there. We have to be careful with that. Now, if it comes to it, you have another motor and use that motor in there. This is for the experiment. The thing is, a person comes into the showroom, or they're on the configurator on the website. How it works here is same price, so the price is not a factor. The same power rate ratio, so the power rate ratio performance is not a factor. Same range, so the range is not a factor. And both vehicles have the low floor, high roof, low ground clearance, low center of gravity, and are driving machines. They're superb. All of them, both vehicles, in these twin, similar but different, just a high roof version versus low roof version of the Scenic, they have excellent internal cabin dampening and then excellent cabin insulation. And the motor system and the wheels, tyres that it's selected and so on are excellent for quiet running of the vehicle. But overall between these vehicles, they're the same. You've got this excellent insulation and excellent dampening effect there. So the cabin noise is not any different. That's a non-factor in selecting between it. You get the picture of what we're doing here? So what it is the only factor in play between choosing one or the other. It's not the price, it's not the power rate ratio, it's not the range, etc., etc. It is, do you just want more headroom, visibility out? Do you want the better vehicle? Do you have good judgment? If you had good judgment, you'd choose the one that's a better vehicle, the one with the higher roof, better visibility out, better accommodation first and second row, better ease of getting in and out of the vehicle, better in every way. So the company can absorb the cost. The company can sort of average the price out between the low roof version and the high roof version. You've got internal costs and all sorts of information that you can map out, and you don't tell the public, but you can make them the same price, and just that's that. Now you would factor in that almost all sales go to the high roof, so you better lean it more towards what the high roof version really costs you, but then price them exactly the same. Of course, most of the sales will go to the high roof version. It's a superior vehicle. It's the way vehicles should be built. What we're trying to do is teach the industry that that's what is, in fact, the superior vehicle, the right vehicle. Low ground clearance, low floor, high roof, good vertical space in the cabin, excellent driving machine with the low center of gravity, and easy step in and easy getting in and out of the vehicle with the big aperture opening in the vertical, on the vertical. It's the superior vehicle. It's the right one. So make all vehicles that way. So it would help to have a demonstration. If we did the experiment, we could just crush it. We could just put it in their face and then embarrass them into getting there. So note that we're not building some big jacked up SUV or something and then just doing what you do with an SUV. Those buyers want everything sort of mega, chunky, massive, and so on. And then you give some size in certain dimensions. No, we're not building that. We're making this 4,457 millimeter vehicle, and on this one we give a high roof because that's the sensible thing to do. That's why we did it. Not some cliche, not why some marketing idea or something. It's just whatever's the smart thing to do, the right vehicle to make. Right, so for the Megane, high roof. For the Scenic, high roof. For the 4,590 millimeter version, high roof. For the 4,700 millimeter version, the high roof. Everything has a high roof because everything should have, meaning room for human beings. We got heads, we need space for them. And the visibility out the front, the visibility all round, very important for safety orientation, for driving safety. As a bonus, the kids are on a trip and they're less likely to get car sick and so on. You could put that way down the list. It's still something. Right. So this here is for example, the alternate and new Renault Scenic 2026 and a high roof version, and it would sell very well. Go for the value purchase approach. We come in there with the five vehicle set. You're beating Geely EX5. You're beating the Leapmotor B10 in terms of value purchase. So Renault historically has been thinking of themselves as being like BMW, Mercedes, and so on in terms of providing a very classy vehicle. And then they've got their particular price bracket and so on. That's fine, but you can provide a very classy vehicle and make it a value purchase vehicle. You can choose to do that and go for the volume sales. And with a small margin of profit, a smaller margin of profit than the big chunky margin. And then how would you make good amount of net profit for the company? Well, volume of sales. So you have to do the careful in terms of ramping up volumes because you don't want to build 10 white elephant factories that then 10 years later you're shutting down, as we've seen some manufacturers do, which is massive losses for the company. So what you do is you have a right 20-year plan, 50-year plan, a right one. And then this Scenic face, this Scenic whole dress up front, wrap around, and the Scenic cockpit is centerpiece for that, with the whole rule set like we don't underpower our vehicles. All our vehicles have proper headroom. And all of our vehicles have the smallest wheels available with the matching small wheelhouse for part of how it makes for excellent driving machine. We do on-road vehicles. They're not all-terrain and they're not off-road. They're all-terrain. They're on-road vehicles, which means low center of gravity, low ground clearance, low floor internal, high roof, excellent cabin space, easy step in, step out, small wheels, small wheelhouse to match it. Be competent, and then things can go very well instead of being incompetent. Right. And then you're providing a customer this spanking vehicle value purchase with excellent attractiveness and excellent cockpit and beautiful fabrics, and we detoxify the cabins. It's totally non-toxic. I don't want to sit on recycled plastic polyester. Here's an idea. Don't make plastic bottles in the first place. Compared to, you make plastic bottles, they end up in the ocean, you fish them out, and then you make seats out of them. I don't want to sit on plastic. I drink out of glass if I drink out of a bottle. I never buy plastic bottles. How about everybody do the same? And then we don't have the plastic bottle problem. What we do with the seats that we sit on, that would be made out of plant fabric. Heard of cotton? Heard of hemp? Heard of bamboo? All sorts of viscous materials, and some are much better than others. We don't want the scratchy of linen or maybe whatever. So you get a combination. It doesn't have to last forever, and you can replace it. Heard of seat covers? I mean, you can have very good, well-engineered seat covers that sit nice, tight, And so you didn't even know it was a seat cover, and then 5 years later you're saying, oh, it needs to be, it's not looking so good. Well, take it off. It takes 10 minutes, and you buy another one from Renault, and it's all just back to brand new. And it's made of plant fabric materials, right? So the end result is a vehicle that people love. It becomes legendary. The start point is to go to Renault and see what, you always update the engineering. So you're buying a new vehicle, well, of course, start at Renault. They've always got the good stuff. And then we're probably not going to be going anywhere else in the end when we go buy, because Renault is just king of the value purchase buy. A beautiful vehicle. It's the Scenic of 2025, says the person, in 2060. Because why would you change it? It's just spectacular. If it's perfect, stick with it. We're still driving terrain vehicles in 2060. We're still walking around on planet Earth on the ground. We're driving vehicles, 4 wheels. So there it is, and it's the Renault Scenic still. That means we're talking long-term plan, efficiency. You make the stampings and the other things to make this look, and then you have to replace them as they wear out, but you don't have to redo it. We're not doing a new generation body styling on the outside. You got to perfect. Just keep rolling with it for decades. All you're doing is improving the internal engineering and any updates, improvements on crash safety and so on. This is potently efficient over the 10, 15, 20 years scope and beyond in dollar efficiency for the business, cost of production type of stuff, which is part of your concern. So let's stare at that and say, right, we got these excellent methods integrated into this approach for cost efficiency, and then this can mean we can go for the value purchase sort of product. That's what our company does. But we have this sort of special thing. We have beautiful styling and value purchase all in one. They can be going together. There's no reason why they wouldn't be. So Renault does that. So you beat Geely EX5 in value purchase, and you're much more attractive than Geely EX5. You're already more attractive than Geely EX5 as it currently is. The Scenic E-Tech here is gorgeous. So that would be the size up from the Scenic, and the size above that as well would take on the Geely EX5 and beat it. And you got all the pieces. It's easy, and you'd have massive volume of sales, worldwide market. It's easy from here. All you have to do is not stuff up. So, you know, call me. You can hire me as a consultant, and I'll make sure it goes right. Just put me in charge of the whole operation. We step it all through and make sure everything goes perfectly. You got the win, just don't stuff up. Right, so this file has been looking at the high roof version of the Renault Scenic in the lineup of the 5 vehicles in the family set, but also I showed the quick edit job. The C-pillar needed to be thickened up for the Megane. So that's what this file has been about. And then it goes with the other files showing the other vehicles and talking through these set of strategies for Renault. And so somebody get this whole set of series of videos to Renault itself, CEO level, in the decision maker that's relevant over in France, right? The very source of the manufacturing. Get the information to watch these videos. The CEO watches these videos, then the CEO calls me up, gets, emails me or whatever, and I'm hired as a consultant, and I will make sure it all goes perfectly. Perfectly. That's the storyline, and it's only those steps away from playing out. I'll end this file here. End of file.